This is Irontrader, and this is Midday Trading. So I'm going to take a look at some stocks here. First of all, I'll take a look at Honeywell, IBM, Chipotle, CMG, IONQ, PLTR, NVDA, and the last on the list will be Tesla. Okay, this video is for information purposes only, not a recommendation of buy or sell a stock commodity ETF. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. First on the docket here, we have Honeywell. Now, the earnings came out. They weren't really too bad, but the stock kind of came off here. But now we have kind of like an indecision situation going on. So what you want to do is want to watch today's low. That's going to be at 223.80. If that's lost here, we'll just bring up that price channel at 221.15. And we'll come to the bottom of this candle right here at 220.20 level, okay? Before we start running into your 218, that's your 200-day, and when we have your 100-day at 217.71. Now, upside, we want to get right back above this 50-day, that's 228.94. You need to close back above that. If we do, we have this big gap, okay? So you want to look at 230.59. There's your gap, and then we want to look to yesterday's candle at 237.23, okay? Your gap, your fill, but realistically, we also have that 21-day at 235.36, and we have that 8-day at 235.69 level before we get that fill. Now, you can see here on this, what we had here, we had this high of 241.72. So all you have to do is look on the left of the chart here, and you have a double top situation going on. But again, it tried to rally up and then it just came right down. So you got to be very, very careful what goes on in earnings. Now, when you look at the top here, see how we got to an overbought situation? And then she just came right on down, and now she's just fallen off. But this is not overbought or oversold. You can still have a way to run on the way down here. The green crossed over your head. That shows momentum to the downside. So the key to this whole thing is going to be this 50-day. Get it back above it. Then we can go possibly gap, 21-day, 8-day, and then possibly the bottom of that candle, the fill at 237.23. Now, if we start losing this price channel situation, going on at that 221, you're going to come right down to that 218 level and possibly all the way down to 217.71. So I would wait and let this chart kind of shake out a little bit here before I get in one way or the other. Okay, let's take a look here now at IBM. All right, IBM here, pretty much the same kind of thing. Sold it off, and now we have this red candle, and we have that big gap fill. Okay, so what we're looking for on the downside, we want to watch that 100 SMA here, sitting at that 260.53. Now, today's high so far, we got 261.25. So we got a gap fill all the way up here at 281.44, but we also have that 50-day at 276.81. We have that 8-day, which just crossed over that 21-day at 279.95, and then we have that 285.99 level. Now you can see here how we had this overbought scenario, and now we're coming right on down. Now we're getting to almost to an oversold situation. So on the downside, what you're really watching is today's low. Okay, you're looking at that 252.75, and then we're looking for this 200-day at 245.40 level. Okay, that's going to be very, very critical. If now we could come all the way to the bottom of this candle at 224.44 and even retest the low at 214.50. So this is not looking very, there's nothing bullish about this chart. The key is going to be getting back above that 100 simple moving average. If you can, we can start aiming for that 50-day and possibly that gap fill at that 281.44 level. But right now, not looking very, very good. I would wait plenty of time, wait this to get shaken out. And then we'll keep your eye on the RSI to see if we can get some kind of a bump back up here, in the same way with your MACD level. But right now here, we have that big gap. I just hate when the gap's down, because now eventually, if this does turn up, we have the gap, and then once you can get into it, then we can go take it right back up here. But right now, it's not looking too good. However, we have to respect this 200-day. So if it does come down there, have to respect it, because look at here, we have this whole scenario of going on, but then look at here, it came all the way down, and then look at here, all the way on up. Look at that, okay, all the way on up. And now we're holding at that 200-day. So respect it if it comes down to this 200-day. That could be a possible buying opportunity, considering that the RSI is into over a sold condition, and your green is way below your red, right at the bottom of it. So just be very, very leery here, but you got to get back above the 100-day before you hit to the 50-day, your 8-day, and then possibly a retest. But you can see how this 8-day, see how that crossed that 21-day? That's never good, okay? That's always very, very bearish. And once we have this 296, that was your high, and you just couldn't punch through. We had this tweezer top situation. See that going on right there? And then come all the way on down. So right now, not looking good. I would stay away until you give a little time to shake out. Okay, let's take a look here now at Chipotle. Here we have Chipotle, CMG. Now, again, the earnings weren't very good. And look at this. See, that came right on off. However, there's a lot of tells going on here. When you look at this, see how this 8-day crossed that 21-day, and then now obviously we're below the 50-day, head towards that 100-day. But that's really the first tell here that this isn't very good. And then once you get that price below that 8-day, see how it fights it going all the way in? Okay, until you get back above, then you can take it higher. But right now, look at here what we have. Now we have ourselves a huge indecision candle. So what you're really watching, today's low so far was 45.31. What you're really watching now here on the bottom is right there is 45.21. So we have just a little bit higher high. Now the next level is going to be right here at that 44.46 level if it keeps right on selling. Now we have this huge gap up. Okay, so what you had for a high today is 47.02 level. Then we could do is we could come to the bottom of this candle here. This would be your target, 48.22. We'll come to the bottom here. You're looking at 48.72 level. Then we can just bring this candle down here. You look at 49.97. And then we can come all the way up here to this 100-day. And then we have the 8-day. And then we have that 50 SMA here. But the gap fill is going to be all the way up here to yesterday's low at that 52.16. And today the gap is going to be at 47.02. So again, if it starts running back up, this could take it and then run it right back up here. Look for that, realistically, that key 100-day. That's going to be first on the docket. And then we can look for that 8-day to 50-day. And then we can look for that gap fill. But right now, we're getting to that oversold condition. But that doesn't mean that you can't stay down there like this. Okay, so we came down. We sold it. It rallied up a little bit. But look at this downswing all the way on down. So right now, Chipotle, you know, with food costs and everything going on up here, not looking too good. Okay, but you have a big, big gap fill that you got to take care of. But really, just really watch the bottom of this candle here. If you're trading it on the downside, 45.21, and then watch the bottom there at that 44.46. That's not a good look. We start losing that, and you're going to go much, much lower. You got price tags all the way down here at your 35.37 level. So always be a little thing. Just wait for this thing to shake out, kind of a situation. Okay, let's look at IONQ here. Here we have IONQ. Now you can see this is a very, very positive bullish chart. See how we had this double bottom situation? Then she ran all the way up here very, very nicely. We were holding the 8-day, came down to the catch-all 21-day, and the 50-day. Everything is holding very, very nice. But when we look at this chart here, always look here at and try to find patterns. See how we had this high, 47.88. Then we retested that bad boy at 47.64. Okay, double top situation, came right on down, but now we're putting in kind of a series of higher lows and higher high kind of a situation. So you got to be a little bit careful going into this one here because we do have this double top. Now, if we can get back above that 47.88 level, then we can come and shoot right on top of this candle. Then you're looking at that 48.92 level. Then we can come back to the top of this candle here at 51.66, and then we have your big retest at 54.74. But you have a very, very good uptrending bottom left upper corner chart kind of a situation. It's just that when you see this double top situation, you either sell or you short or however you trade, and then it'll come on down here, and you have always a buying opportunity as long as we hold that 50 simple moving average. Now, let me just big this up a little bit. Now, on the downside here, what we're watching is going to be watching that 8-day. See that 8-day? 43.81. We really want to hold that. Next is that catch-all, that 21-day at 43.21. Then we just follow these candles right on down. Okay, you look at today's low, 42.25. We'll come down here at 41.79. Then we'd be looking for that 40.94. That is your 50 SMA. But got to respect it here because look how nice this is held. But see how we had this double bottom, okay? We had that low, we had that higher low, and then we had a nice good run situation on up. But then look at the top. We have a high, we have a lower high, and then we have that sell-off, okay? But the sell-off isn't really that big because we still have that uptrending chart, and now we're back above the 8 in the 21-day and that 50-day. So very, very cool. So just watch today, watch that 43.82. We want to close above that, and that 43.24, and obviously that 50-day. We want to close all above that. Then we have a good shot at taking this upwards, okay? So we look at today's high, look at 44.64. Next level here going to be 44.86. Then we can venture right on up at 45.57. We'll come up here at 46.35. And then we have 47.25. But the key is going to be that 47.88 and getting above that, closing above that, so we can attack the next level, which is going to be that 48.92 level. Okay, but just always watch these chart patterns because that's how you trade the chart. So if you want to learn a little bit about trading charts or chart patterns or candlestick, just go on my playlist. Everything is right there. You can look at it at your convenience. Okay, let's take a look here now at Palantir. Okay, here we have Palantir. Now look at this bullish chart. Look at it, bottom left, upper right. Look how nice this is holding the whole way. Kind of as similar as what you had as the INQ. Your 8 days holding it very nice. Your 21 day, your catch-all, that's holding it. And you never even broke this 50 SMA here on the downside. So what we're really watching is just take a look at that price channel, 155.68. That's the key. You have to break above that. If you do, you're going to be heading right towards that 160 level. And then you can eventually go to that 170 like NVIDIA and work yourself up to the 200. Very, very easy. Now, on the downside, we want to watch that 8 day. That's 152.15. Then we'll go to yesterday's low. Look at 148.29. Then we have that 21 day sitting right there at 144.02. We lose that. You have the 50 day at 136. We have the retest here at 128.51, which is basically just the bottom of that candle. Then we'll come to the bottom of this candle here at 118.93. Then we'll be looking for the 100-day at 115. But right now, there's no signs. I'd like to show you where it could possibly go. But right now, you have a very good bullish trend. And I would be a buyer of this. Once we close above 155.68, I would be all in here to take that bad boy higher. Just that good. Now, again, look at these earnings here coming up here. Okay, so look at the past earnings above. Ripped right on up here. Again here, well, we ripped right on up here, had a little sell-off, but again, we had a nice good rip. Look at here again, the last earnings here. These are 3 earnings in a row. Look at that nice good rip. Now, no one's going to say the next earning isn't going to be any different. Okay, so Palantir, I think the one to get into, just watch that 155.68. You close above, we got 160 target, and then you're in blue sky once we close right above that. Downside, just watch that 152, that 8 day, that 21 day, and that old 50 day. Now, you can see the strength in the RSI, but we're not overbought here at all. There's got plenty of room here to run. The green is over your red. This is looking very, very good. So this is what I'm watching right here, 155.68. We close above. I'm all in, and we'll take that bad boy higher. Okay, let's take a look here now at NVIDIA. Okay, NVIDIA, I am long and strong, and I'm also a trader of it. Now, we had a nice little pullback right here, and it actually never even made it down to that 21 day. So we got to really respect that situation. So we got as low down there at that 164.58. That's some bullshit news. Then it went, and next day it came right back up here. We closed right above that 171.18 level here. We closed right above that 8 day. And then today we touched the 8 day, and now we're right back up here. So obviously upside 174.25. You crack that, you're going to head for that 180 level. Okay, now this is no ball of fire as it's moving. Okay, now the earnings aren't coming out here till August 27th. You got plenty of time to get into this situation. Okay, so plenty of time. Now we look at the last earnings here that we had this, and it had a nice good run up. You look in the past though, we have the earnings that sold right on off, and that was a good buying opportunity situation. But look at here how we had this really nice good run. But a lot of the stuff here is like with the tariffs, and they're going to ban this, and I think NVIDIA is doing nothing but going higher. Any pullback is a buying opportunity in NVIDIA. Just got to face reality. Now, on the downside here, just watch that 8 day 171.17. Watch yesterday's low, 171.26, and then we watch the bottom of there at 164.58. This is 167.97. Sorry about that. I was reading the top of the candle. And then we come down here at 164.58, and then we have that 163.74. Okay, so just watch the bottom of these candles, and then we watch that 21 day. We lose that. We have the 50 day right below. But obviously, just respect this 8 day and that 21 day because it's been holding this whole time. Upside, watch that 174.25. Okay, we close above that, then I'll be even adding to my position because we're going to be going higher. Just that simple. Now, look at the strength on this bad boy. Okay, this is going really, really strong. Now, again, this is not going to last. You know, eventually when you have a sell-off, this will sell off here too. But in the meantime here, you can ride this bad boy up, and that's exactly what I'm doing. MACD is at the top here, the RSI at the top. Looking very, very bullish. Okay, last one. Let's take a look here now. It's going to be at Tesla. Okay, here we have Tesla. Now, the numbers came out yesterday, just like I thought. You got, you know, declining sales, declining revenue. You're down there about 14%. And I listened to the conference call, and I got to be honest with you, that was just nothing but total amateur hour bullshit is what that was. You're trying to tell me that by the end of this year, everything's going to be autonomous driving. Okay, 2026 now is a Cybertruck is going to be ramping up a production, a truck that nobody wants. Okay, you pay $100,000 and a year later it's worth 60 grand. I mean, you know, you're trying to sell dreams here. I think eventually the stock is going to be right where it belongs at about 30 bucks. Okay. And now also understand at the end of September here, that $7,500 is going to be taken off. Okay. So you're going to have to pay full price if you want it. That subsidy is going to be gone. So if you can't sell the vehicles now and say, hey, I'm going to get in here while I still have that $7,500, once you take that off, I mean, who's going to want to get into this? Okay. Now, that being said, okay, I'm a fan of Musk, don't get me wrong, and this is a good trading stock. Now, an easy way to trade this is TSLS. That's an easy way to take this short ski, okay? So that's what you want to look at. This was a good trade on the short. Now, when you look at, I just say, when you look at the earnings, look at the commerce thing, this autonomous driving right now, you got Waymo is already in 16, 18 cities, and you're dinking around with 20 people in Austin, Texas. Okay, you got to get permits and everything to go into these cities to do all this. You are so far behind the curve. It's not even funny here. So don't fall for all this nonsense and say, I'm going to buy and hold. This is going to go to $1,000 and all this kind of stuff. Just, if you like the stock, just trade this stock, okay? Because that's all this is. It's just a trader stock. This is not a buy and hold kind of a situation. If it starts running, jump into it, get out of it, put the money in your pocket. But I think this company is worth about 30 bucks in my personal opinion if you look at that. So to me, I'm a trader. I don't really care what it does, long or short. That's how I trade the market. Now, you can see here how it just gapped right on down in the earnings. Right now, Tesla, you're down almost 30 bucks on this thing. So what we're really watching is we're watching this 100-day right here at that 293.88. Then we're going to come down to that price channel at 288.77. And then we're going to come down to the bottom of this candle. You're looking at 281.85. And then we have this 273.21 level. Now, I want to point out, which I pointed out this many a times, is yes, if that gets hammered, 244.43, there's your gap. And then look at here at 242.79, there's your fill. And then we come down to the bottom of this candle here at 222.79. And we can come all the way down here at that 214 level. And I still think that's way too high for what the stock is doing, okay? So he's got to get his act together and forget about the politics, forget about all this nonsense, and just focus on your business. That's the only thing. Now, if this goes up here, we have a lot of resistance. You got 315.79. There's your 21 SMA. We got the 200 SMA at 319. We have this 8-day at 322. Then we have your 50-day at 326. Then you can have a big retest there at 343. But now the price is below everything except for that 100 SMA here. So this area needs to hold, that 100-day in that price channel, and this area right here needs to hold. If not, you're going to go right down to that gap in that fill and possibly retest that 214 area here, okay? So just remember, those that $7,500 subsidy is going to be cut off here at the end of September, okay? So just remember that. So if nobody's buying it now, what's going to say somebody's going to jump into it and pay $7,500 more for a vehicle? Now, you look at the RSI, this is nowhere near oversold. This has plenty of room to go on the downside. The same way here. But again, this is a meme stock. People like to jump into it. So don't have any opinion. Just watch this area right here. This is going to be very, very key. We lose it, we have a gap fill, we have a big retest all the way down here. Now, again, if it jumps right on up, then we always have to watch these simple moving averages, that 21, that 200-day, the 8-day, and that 50 SMA here. And then we have the gap fill. You look at the bottom of yesterday's candle, you're looking at 328.67. There is your gap fill. Okay, so again, just trade this stock. Just do yourself a favor. Don't have an opinion. Just trade this long or short. TSLS has been working really, really nice on this. I jumped in that yesterday, and I'm still long the TSLS because I say I have no confidence in what you're doing. Now, when you look at this chart here, you have a high, you have a lower high, and you have a lower high. See how that's descending, okay? So you got to hold this area here. And if you don't, you're going to go lower. Now, if you do hold it, you got a good shot at ramping right back up here to these simple moving averages. But again, let this shake out a little bit. Let's just see how everything shakes out. Now, I was listening to CNBC, and there's some guys on there, they're defending it. They're probably defending it because they got thousands of shares. They're trying to take this back up here to that 488 level, say. So never listen to all that. Just trade the charts. That's how you make money. Everybody's going to have opinion, but you don't know anybody's agenda. That's the key. If somebody, I got a price tag on this, it's going to 1,000 like this. You don't know if they have an agenda on the stock and they're just waiting for this thing to go up so they can unload it to the retail trader. So just be very, very patient. Just trade this. TSLA for the long, TSLS for the old short ski. Okay, I'll be back here After the pit close, we'll take a look here at Bitcoin, gold, silver, crude oil, natural gas, and we'll take a look at the indexes here, which are not too bad. The Dow's down about 170, S&P's up about 14, and the Nasdaq is up at 44. Okay, now Google's doing pretty good today. They had really good numbers. They're up 3, and I think realistically, I think Google's finally getting their act together, and I think that could be a nice, good trade here, going up much, much higher. All right, trade what's in front of you, not what you want.